Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game, and look here. We live in a world where there's another major sport holding playoffs, right? Playoffs? And yet more people are going to be talking about just people talking about what time somebody is going to be talking about playing a game come September and beyond. The power of the NFL and the Jacksonville Jaguars playing football. Schedule release happened a couple nights ago. I know you degenerates all went and ran to it right after you checked out the Wednesday edition of the Duval Dive, which if you aren't liking and subscribing to the Duval Dive YouTube channel already, get a hold of your life and do so. Next, though, we didn't actually get around to reacting to it yet until now, and I'm not going to do it by myself. If I'm an enabler for all you Duval devout to care more about a schedule than another sports playoff games, I might as well bring in Big Cat Country's own Travis D. Holmes to do it. What's going on, champion?
Doing well, bro. And I don't blame anybody who was a Jacksonville Jaguars degenerate because I am with you. Let's
That's
go.
right. Hey, listen, and I am an enabler regardless. I haven't even checked the Niners schedule yet as we're recording this. So there's all that, right? How about all that? So
Yeah.
listen, without further ado, pop up the schedule and the analysis that, of course, you can find here, this particular version on bigcatcountry.com. Shouts to my guy, Travis T. Holmes and company for doing the thing. But let's get into it. Now, as far as these preseason games, I know that these aren't the cream of the crop, but Travis, of course, you have listed here week 1, 2, and 3 are the Steelers in Everbank, and then, of course, 2 away games for road games with the New Orleans Saints, and then in Miami against the Dolphins. Any particular thoughts about the preseason and what preparation this could bring the team?
Hey, man, I think not only am I think most of the football world right now is excited just to find out what it's going to look like with Travis Hunter and how the team's going to kind of deploy him. So just when you get that opening, not just early on, but you get that opening on a Saturday, August 9th at, I believe, 7 p.m. Kickoff against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Everbank Stadium. Cool. I think I'm down with that. And then they head over to New Orleans for the game you're more likely than not to see more of the starters playing that week 2 matchup. So if they get a little bit of a run, it's probably going to be against the Saints. So we should have at least some kind of a feeling of what this team's going to look like. I know the Saints aren't necessarily supposed to be great, but I think they'll still be adequate for those first few series. So we'll see. If the previous years are any indication, you kind of have to assume that the starters will rest that third preseason game, but you never know. This is a new coaching staff putting in their own schemes on offense and defense, so it's quite possible that they may choose to have those starters play that third game and kind of see what this thing looks like. So at Miami, and maybe you might even get lucky enough where they may even get some joint practices done this year.
I was going to say that. Now, granted, we don't have official word yet, according to what you found out talking to Liam Cohen over there after rookie minicamp there on the 10th. So as we're recording this, we don't have that yet. That could come to us here. Who knows? Maybe on Monday while you're at more camp for Big Cat Country. You'll find out more there, and then we'll get that to you on the Duval Dive YouTube channel, of course, as well. So enough of that. Let's get to some meat and potatoes. The first half of the season, I'm going to read it off for the pod listeners. Week 1 is the Carolina Panthers at Everbank. Then in Cincinnati to battle the Bengals. The Houston Texans come over to Everbank in week 3, pretty early, but I that's the first divisional game. Then
and all 3 of those games are 1 p.m. games, just an FYI.
I was going to say across the country, we had West Coast for the first time for a 4 o'clock game. That would be the San Francisco 49ers. The 5th week is Monday Night Football. Another non-1 o'clock game, to your point, Travis. The Kansas City Chiefs at 8:15, of course, on Monday night. They host the Seattle Seahawks back at Everbank for a second straight home game on a short week there, of course, after Monday Night Football. They head back out west for another 4 o'clock against the Los Angeles. No, I'm all wrong.
Really
wrong
west.
direction. They don't go west coast. They cross the ocean.
They cross the ocean. They went west. They went really west there.
So they're going to be early morning there. So get your breakfast out for that before the bye week, and they return home from international travel a week 8. So at that midpoint of the season, They've played 3 of the NFC West teams that they're scheduled to do battle with, and one of the the bonus games, I should say, or what's left with a divisional game in there.
Right. So that's rough. That's a rough slate.
Yeah, this is a tough start. Sure, the Panthers are, I would argue the Panthers might be the weakest team in the first half of the year, Travis. The Seahawks would be. But if those are the weakest parts of your chain, that's not an easy way to start the season. It feels like elements of last year when they had a pretty tough schedule. What say you?
I mean, I think you hit it on the head. Like, I think this is very similar to that 2024 schedule where the Jaguars are going to open with a gauntlet. There's no other way to say it. Like, they obviously week 1 is great, but after week 1, like those weeks 2 through 7, that's a string of tough matchups that you're just hoping that you can just win 2 of those 6 games. And I don't think, I'm just saying for your floor, if you want to truly be in the mix at the end of this season, then if you're hoping to come out of week 7, 3-4, and I think like that's reasonable. Like even if you are, let's say 2-5, if it's not the end of the world, it's just you have a mountain to climb. But if you can come out of there 3-4, that means beating the Carolina Panthers and just winning 2 of those 6 games between weeks 2 and week 7. I don't think that's unrealistic, but I also don't think that's necessarily easy. So if you beat the Houston Texans, you be fill in the blank on one of those other teams. I think that's a really solid situation because after that bye week, that's the easiest half of their schedule to play, and I think that'll be a pretty good situation for them.
I look at this and see the ceiling at 4-3. I think if the Jags and the Bengals get into a shootout, the Jacksonville Jaguars can win that football game, mostly on the strength of the fact that the Bengals defense is pretty bad, and we still don't know what's going on with Trey Hendrickson at the time of this recording. But, even if he is still on the schedule, I see the opportunity for man, listen, it's close to Memorial Day, so maybe you can make that a firework holiday. I'll put it down. It's not on Memorial Day, obviously, but it's close to it. Not Memorial Day, Labor Day, excuse me.
I got you.
So yeah.
But after the London game, they get to have that extended bye. Like I think that's a good situation for them to reset. Not to mention they're also going to have that Carolina Panthers opening, and I'm not trying to jump too far ahead and make predictions or anything like that, but I will say there is at that point, if you're looking at it like there's a non-zero chance that they may just want to not deploy Travis Hunter in the ways that they would normally want to, just to play it straight, if that makes sense, against the Carolina Panthers. And then you go into the Cincinnati Bengals game, truly deploying him. And folks for the Cincinnati Bengals wouldn't necessarily know what to do with that because they haven't really seen it on tape. So there are some gamesmanship that can be had here that it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of, how that's going to be deployed.
I completely disagree with that take in this way.
Okay.
Conventional wisdom, that's a good move. There's nothing conventional about this group in the front office or Travis Hunter. You got to think of this in more unconventional terms, right? Think back to Reggie Bush, Travis. When he was a rookie, didn't have that many touches the first half of the year. But the Saints and Sean Payton as their coach was decoying the hell out of it. Now, there is no way Liam Cohen is going to decoy with Travis Hunter like that. But if I'm that group, I would consider coming out full blast against the Panthers and then letting Travis Hunter go full tilt, receiver only in most of that game. Why? Because it's going to be a shootout anyway. Whether he's facing Jamar Chase or any of the other talented Bengals receivers, that's fine. Travis Hunter's job will be to make the other side pay for focusing too much on BTJ. And I think that we're going to get our fly zone offense that I've been dreaming for. The anti-red zone offense, the all streaks.
I got you.
That whole thing. For those who have listened to the episode or the show for the first time, and I think that's the gamesmanship I would use there. And then with the Houston Texans, well, I mean, at that point, you're hoping for the defensive line to do most of the work anyway. So maybe you put Hunter back at corner, get him some picks if you can get CJ Stroud rattled at all. Kind of like last year, except maybe you actually capitalize on short yardage situations this time, offense. So,
interesting.
my
No.
thoughts.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be like that whole Rams, the old Rams. What do they call it? The biggest show on the best show on grass,
Greatest
or something
show
like that.
on turf.
Greatest show on grass, on turf. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Well,
it.
And
So,
speaking of the greatest show on turf, we would be remiss to say it's clear that the big event, if not, well, I would say in the entire season, even overplaying the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football, is the London game with the Jaguars front office reuniting with a lot of their former teams there with Liam Cohen and James Gladstone.
You put that one over the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football in Duval County.
I do.
Interesting. Okay.
I do. I think that'll be the better watch, assuming John Matthew Stafford is still healthy.
That's going to be interesting, and I'm interested in seeing what the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is going to look like against San Francisco specifically, and not to mention the Cincinnati Bengals, because that wide receiver core is just nasty.
Well, that's
but just a Monday Night Football against Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs is just the Jaguars getting over a mountain that they've struggled to get over under Doug Peterson. And I think that for a lot of reasons, just for some of those guys that maybe have been in the locker room, that could be one of those, all right, this is something different moments if they can just win that game. And
sure.
I don't want to make that about the whole season, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I'm not here to say that that's not going to be its own event. Let's not get dumb. It's Patrick LeVon Mahomes II. Hello. But it's not like the Chiefs played a lot of beautiful and pretty football during the regular season, right? I think the better watch is going to be the Rams with a healthy John Matthew Stafford. So, but your point is well made. So
that'd be like a Rams Detroit Lions for a matchup. Like you would expect it to be a higher flying affair. Like, and I think that's not crazy to have that take.
So for the podcast folks there too, I'll read off the back half of the schedule, starting with Week 9 on November 2nd. They head over to battle the Las Vegas Raiders. Another 4:00 game with the West Coast trip. They head to Houston the next week. Come back home to host the Los Angeles Chargers, which could be very interesting for me. I'm teasing something. You'll hear more announcements on that sooner than later. Then after that, by the way, I love the whole round 2 of that playoff game aspect too. Someone's going to call that out, I'm sure. Heading back over to Arizona without Christian Kirk, unfortunately, teardrop.
Another 4:00 game.
Yeah, another 4:00 game. Thank you. As I was getting into against the Arizona Cardinals, that's a sneaky game. I feel like if they lose that game, that's one that fans are going to be ticked about, but you need to watch out for. Then Sunday they head to Nashville for the second of those pair of games. Something very interesting that's happened, or I shouldn't say the second. That's the first time they play them in Nashville. I apologize. They start getting into the rest of the division games to close out here. Obviously, they host the Colts, which I mean, what is it, 11 straight? Let's see if they can make it 12 there to open December. They host the Jets, which is interesting. I don't know how to feel about that. We'll ask you in a minute. Yeah. Head back out west for the last of the 4:00 games, rounding out 6 total games for those that are keeping track at home of games not at 1:00, which feels like a lot for the Jags. So they'll be with the Broncos in Denver for that, going mile high against, ironically, the previously named Sean Payton. And then the Colts heading to Indy just after Christmas. And then the game opening week of 2026 and the final of the NFL season, with the time yet to be determined because that'll be placed on seeding. The Tennessee Titans head to Everbank. Another Week 18 Everbank affair. That's one of our favorite games that you and I have covered together, buddy. So
a game that could potentially be for the AFC South.
Exactly. The only thing that's different is Derrick Henry not being there this time. Right?
My initial just huge my first reaction is like, man, that is a very nice end of the season schedule. And the second part is, wow, 4 of the final 6 games are against the Titans and the Colts. Like, that's, if you think that the Titans are going to be bad, or if you think that the Colts are going to be bad with Anthony Richardson and or Daniel Jones at quarterback, then you like those odds of you making the playoffs, or you like those odds of you winning the AFC South, or absolutely competing. If you're saying that 4 of your final 6 games are going to be against the Titans and Colts, and normally the goal is to try to want to go 5-1 in the AFC South, to win the division. Okay, That I think that's a very good situation for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know we skipped it earlier, but I did want to say, just as a quick aside, I thought the Jaguars missed the layup on their schedule release video. Like,
see,
I
we
don't know
weren't
if you
going to
saw
talk
it.
about it. Like, this is you bringing this up is less inspired than the actual video itself. No, I'm kidding. But
That's I mean, they missed the layup. Like, they could have used Travis Hunter doing pretty much anything, and it would have been dope. Like, it would have probably been just fun, and fans would have enjoyed it. Media would have enjoyed it. Whatever. They could have had Miss Sandy Holmes, the United Airlines passenger, do something. Say Duval, something, just anything, and it would have probably been wholesome and cool and whatever else. But I thought they just missed that layup. But you know what? I'm okay with the team that's going to miss the layups and the extra stuff, as long as you went on the field. Nobody cares. Just win, baby. Like that. That's what it's come down to.
What you're trying to say is, when it comes to the Jags schedule release, you're throwing a bunch of cold water on it. Boom!
I mean, I ain't throwing a bunch of cold water. They started the video off throwing cold water on it, so that is what it is. But no,
you said what you said. That's right.
They have 4 p.m. games. The Jaguars have 6 games that are not taking place at 1 p.m. So while they don't have this crazy amount of primetime games overall, just looking at the schedule, they do have the Monday Night Football affair. They do have the London affair, and they have 4 p.m. games with the option of having maybe that Week 18 game also flexed out. So we'll see what happens. But overall, I mean, it's not a bad schedule. It's actually a very fortunate schedule, especially the second half of that bad boy. I am curious about seeing, Travis Hunter in Week 16 head back to Colorado, facing the Denver Broncos.
That's a great point.
That's going to be more of a little bit like a home game, at least for the Travis Hunters, supporters.
The Travis Hunters,
from college. The Travis Hunters from college. And I mean, for the most part, you got like you already said, the rematch from the 2022 division. What was it? The wild card round playoffs against the Chargers. I mean, I don't know who wants to see that from Los Angeles, but we, Jacksonville Jaguar fans, I'm sure these guys will love that. And we get to see the Tom Brady Las Vegas Raiders, the Tom Brady part ownership, Pete Carroll Las Vegas Raiders, whatever that's going to be coming out of the bye week. So that could end up being a win that most people aren't thinking about, because you don't really know what the Raiders are going to become. Just don't know what that team is going to be yet at this current
moment. We just know that they don't really have a quarterback that I'm very confident in. No disrespect to Geno Smith, but I think it's an awful lot to ask of him to carry that team, because I think the Seahawks gave him a lot more to work with than the Raiders did. But hey, listen, it wouldn't be the first quarterback that Pete Carroll didn't have an offensive line for. Yes, that's right. That's some shots at what he did to Russell Carrington Wilson. I don't care if you like him or not. So I say what I think. But something else.
That New York Jets game was also going to be interesting. So, but again, go ahead. What were you saying?
No. I feel like there's a lot of frequent flyer miles here, though. Like London, 3 West Coast trips. Well, I mean, Denver isn't the coast technically, but you know what I'm saying there. There's a lot of West travel. I think they're one of the top 7 or 8 teams in mileage.
Yeah. At San Francisco, at Las Vegas, at Arizona, at Denver, going to London. Am I missing anything? Like, that's some solid traveling, bro.
And Cincinnati's across north and south as well, too, right? Because they're going there early. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So. I mean, so yeah, and for the most part, that's some traveling going on right now. I think I'm in agreement with you, bro. So at the end of all of it, the Jaguars do have that early season gauntlet. And we'll get into official season projections and things of that nature later, especially after we get into that dead zone after OTAs and everything else. But for the moment,
can we have a veteran at least put some shorts on to work out before we do that? Can we do that?
Yeah, right. Let the people put some clothes on first before we start talking about them. Like, I think that's reasonable.
I think that's a good place to ask you to tell the world where you can be found.
Well, of course I can be found on all the socials at Travis D. Holmes, but more importantly, you can find me at BigCatCountry.com. But before we wrap this bad boy up, and if you hear the sound of my voice, like and subscribe us on YouTube, the Duuuval Dive. Rate and review us wherever you catch your podcast. Like I say this all the time, and I really hope you guys are hearing me. We appreciate everyone who returns to listen to this podcast so much. But also, I want to make sure you guys know it's the best thing you can do for us if you truly support us is just click that little like button, click that little subscribe button, or rate and review us wherever you catch your podcast. And I swear we appreciate you. Send me messages and send Kyle a message, send one of us messages and let us know you did it. And we'll shout you out on the show. At the end of the day, we want to support you guys that are supporting us. So just like and subscribe and let's do this thing. Where can you be found, sir?
I mean, hey, listen, if you want to hit me up on Twitter just to tell me you think my hair is bad, that's up to you too. I'll take that as well. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Check out my work, of course, on Facebook as well at the Student of the Game. Check out my writings with Fans First Sports Network covering the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic, as well as my work covering the UCF Knights football and basketball, writing for blackandgoldbannerhead.com, and of course, working with the Night Shift podcast and YouTube channel. So yeah, there's your schedule, you degenerates. We walked through it. How about that? No, listen, I joke, but of course it's a lot of fun. Travis is 100% correct. Absolutely. You guys keep us coming back to do the thing. We have a lot of fun doing it. We would probably talk football with each other, but it's more fun doing it with all of you. So for my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, Kyle Nash, the student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.